And the guy that was greeting me was a professor, a retired professor at UNT. And he said, "Oh, you're just starting at UNT. I'm retired, but I can't let it go. I'm trying to get continuing education started." And I said, "That's interesting. That's part of what
you do.
What are you doing?" He said, "Well, we're trying to get an OSHER, a OLLI program started, and we got an initial grant to establish it, but within a year, we have to have 500 students. Otherwise, they will not support us as a program."
That's a lot of students for a year. It seems like.
But
all the way through, and make sure that.
So there's only one test at the end, and nothing in between. So you have no idea where.
No idea. That's the way law. That's kind of the way law is too. You don't really know where you're. But yeah, that was and it was, it was all. You really had to be very disciplined, to know. I mean, I've been in education long enough to know you pick up cues from the professor as to what's important. And I took I recorded, even back then, I recorded my classes, listened to them again, took notes off my recording, and started organizing my notes right from that first day.
Yeah.
But to really pick up on, I mean, you always figure these law professors, somewhere during that semester, they're going to tell you almost everything is going to be on the test. They may not say, like, this is going to be on the test, but the things they're talking about, you're pretty sure they're going to be, if you memory, and I still had a good memory at that time. I don't have a good memory anymore, but I had a good memory then. And I could, memorize stuff well enough and make up little acronyms to remember the 8 elements of this type of crime and the 10 things you have to do in this case. I could memorize them by making up the words that might remind me.
Yeah. Do you think your DNA's made up for that, or do you think you just learned how to learn? You learned how to memorize, and you learned how to learn.
Well, I think both. I mean, it's just like anything else. I think humans are different, and to think that everybody's brain's the same would be pretty silly. Yeah. I mean, you have to really. You have to really be a Jeffersonian to be all men are created equal to think you're. So again, I think, but it doesn't mean So I think you do have that. Again, as many times as I taught, there are kids who just are naturally, my daughter who's very bright. I wouldn't combat her in anything as far as intelligence, but she does not have a memory like I did or like my son does, and it's just a different. And a lot of the school, even in law school, you're still geared. You got to regurgitate. You get a fact pattern, but you have to know 100 things to look for and which ones apply. If you don't know that 100 things, it's not just common sense. You've got to pick up on kind of a list of things to memorize, to apply, and. But other people, there's also a real big skill in law school is writing. So I think people, and that people who are better in language arts and in English and things like that, and writing do really well, and that person could overcome some lack of memory. But that's also a skill. I think writing, it's partly learned, but I mean, I'm not a good writer, but I spend. It wasn't from lack of trying. I tried to be a good writer. I just didn't. I tried to be a bodybuilder too. It just didn't work. Some things just can't.
Some things don't work. They're not in your DNA.
Some kids come out, naturally. They're jumping higher and running hard, running faster, and to think that you're. I mean, I think it would be pretty silly to think that people have different capacities in different elements, whether it's writing or math or memorizing or just even things like organizing. My wife she's a computer expert. She taught computer science, but she can take any little. We have a problem with the remote control or something, or we have some little mechanical deal she's never seen before, and she can figure out how it works. And I can sit there; it looks like a rock to me. I couldn't make that thing go if I had spent a week, and she tinkers around with it and figures this out and this out, and all of a sudden the TV's on.
Yeah.
Or the toilet's working.
Yeah.
A nice person to have around.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Do you think that the like you mentioned, I'm not a good writer. I got there. Is that the knowing that you're not good at it because your DNA is just not made for it? Is that a motivator to approach it more or push it more, or you just had to? It was a necessity of your job, and you didn't really care from an education point of view, or is it something that drives you? Like, I'm not that good at it, but I think I could be a little bit better, and that's why you're motivated.
Well, the thing I got over that particular problem with is because I wasn't very good naturally. I wrote very simply, in very simple terms, and actually as a lawyer I got high praise from clients because I was writing in their language, not in legal language. So actually that almost turned out to be a benefit. If I was telling you a problem, I would think, well, what does Happy want? How does he want to hear this? And I'd say, here's your first step, here's your second step, here's your third step. And that's all you want to know. You don't want to know why this came about in English law and all this stuff. So I just so actually it worked out. It didn't hurt me. It means I had to work harder, and I realized I couldn't write a great brief that's going to go to the U.S. Supreme Court. Someone else had to do that. But as far as just explaining something to somebody sitting across the table from me, it didn't really hurt. And like I say, the fact that my daughter can't memorize the presidents of the United States the way I can go year by year and tell you what's happening in the U.S. history, but she can get a list of the presidents. So it's not like if somebody says who was president in 1900, we both get the answer. We just go, I know it, and she has to go look it up. And today's world, it's basically Google. Siri, who was president in 1900? So it's not that big of a deal anymore.
Correct. Yeah. Well,